Okay, so we're jumping into game two here on Antigua Shipyard between TTF and Hendralisk. If you hadn't watched the first game, TTF bested Hendralisk on Tawdry Malter. All started out with some very early +1 zealot pressure. I believe it was 7 zealots. And in my opinion, I think Hendralisk was on the back foot ever since then. Never was able to recover. So here we are on Antigua, and we have kind of a cross spawn,
Cross
which is
position, yeah.
nice. Which is probably, a favorable position for the Zerg. I'm sure he's happy about that.
Well, absolutely. What Zerg has to worry about a lot is if Zerg is at the, what's this, about the 9 o'clock position, and Protoss is up here, in order to get down, well, actually, Zerg would be an advantage there, because they take this quick third here without having to worry about that run-by pressure, whereas actually Protoss would be at a disadvantage. Attacking upwards would put a lot of pressure potentially on this. But with these cross positions, they have kind of an equal exposure to their thirds. Both of them have to go through these rocks, but there's no easy sneak around.
I agree. So and especially if you, let's say if Zerg is where he is and then Protoss spawns on top, that third base for Protoss actually is, it's really hard to hold if you can get that early pressure going or for anyone. So there can be some hard hold thirds to hold if you get an unfavorable spawn. But this looks pretty even. I don't think we'll have any problems with that.
Going for gas first here from Hendralisk.
Yeah, so probably early speedling. Looks like he's going to try to delay his expansion again. That probe is already there, which is pesky. We'll see how long Hendralisk waits to throw that expansion down. He's got this, pool first, okay.
Probably going to be some quick cannons going up there by TTF then as soon as he sees that pool.
And typical Forge fast expand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Very typical for this map.
Yep.
Kind of got the wider ramp on this, but I mean, by the time this gets established, he'll probably throw a cannon down around here or here. Maybe early the first cannon will be there just in case of the quickest speedling pressure. He could have that protected by the pylon and the gateway. But he's definitely going to want to protect this flank here.
Yeah, and I think he can tell from the timing of everything right now. He's not going to get too much pressure too early, but, you don't want to be too safe. So he's going for the Nexus first before first cannon. So
that's actually a pretty smart decision, I think.
Yeah, he feels pretty safe, and I think he knows he's safe as well. And we still don't have an expansion coming down from the Zerg. We're at about 15 supply, so we should expect it anytime soon, I would imagine.
Throwing down 4 lings, and speed also.
4 lings, he's at 19. Okay, he's really worried about that. Unless he's going to go for some one-base pressure, which is also a possibility here.
Throw down the gateway. Now also you'll notice that the Zerg player, Hendralisk, pulled all his drones off of gases. A little bit extra there, but as soon as he had enough for speed, he pulled that off. Looks like he's just trying to go for some quick speedling pressure, and maybe Expo from there.
Here comes the Expo, the inevitable Expo. Still no Expo. He is... Okay, so this is probably indicative now. He knows that there's a Forge Fast Expand. And what I think he's going to do is try to transition to a Roach. If he's not going to take that expansion, what we'll see a lot is early Roach pressure that the Protoss hopefully is not expecting. And you can break down that wall, barrel in, and then sometimes get a quick win.
Baneling nest going down, that's another good thing.
Banelings? Yeah, Banelings with Speedlings is also very powerful here.
The thing is, the Banelings will just crush these pylons.
If he gets the right pylon, he can be in. So there's not even a clear wall off yet for a Protoss. So.
And also, if he gets this pylon is not powering this cannon, which actually a little bit of a mistake, I think, there, because one pylon, especially when it's not protected by a forge or a beefier building up front, I've lost many games to just a perfect Baneling. Oh, but he's thrown down the next pylon, as if he heard me.
Yeah, he was listening. So Baneling Nest is almost done. Lings in production here, I see. Speed is done. Number of Lings here, so we should see. And there's a pack of Lings, as you can see.
22.
Coming through the middle, we have a scary force of Lings there. And here we go. Okay, so Baneling's already in production. This is
5 Banelings going down.
Now, I think that far right pylon is still the one to get. I feel like it is, because the pylon's on the left. If he goes for that, it's a longer way around, and now he's got a pylon reinforcement, or a cannon reinforcing that pylon.
Kills all those pylons, or all those lings off, Banelings rather, off one zealot, but it looks like...
Going for the cannon here.
Another Baneling coming in.
So he should be able to get some probe kills here, for sure, but... That's not a lot of Lings. And if he can get these Lings in here, he should be able to wipe out a number of probes. These probes should be able to handily take out these Lings. Well, with some losses, of course, but...
That Stalker, meanwhile, just does not like that supply depot position. Don't blame him.
And it's very important right now to get rid of the supply depot, I can imagine.
Ooh, more from these behind the vision blocker. That's good. I'm sure that TTF suspects that, but... Ooh, did not see it.
That Stalker is not long for this world.
Oh, if
Sure.
he can get that one Baneling in there, especially off that block. Ooh, this might be huge.
Soften a bunch of them up. Yep. Beautiful. The
Meanwhile, he's
Banelings initially are only is a two-shot for kills on a probe on the probes, so the one will just soften them up, and the Lings can finish them off quite easily after that.
oh, he's gotten the full wall off now. In the meanwhile, he's thrown this second pylon there, and that gateway to replace the one that would have fallen.
So the problem now, TTF has stabilized, but he has a second base established. He's got some pesky Lings in the base still, but I think he'll be able to clean this up pretty easily
a little
eventually.
bit of careful work there with the Sentry and the Stalker. I just think that would just clean that up very easily.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. But the thing is, I think Hendralisk is in a bit in trouble now because you need that to work. You need to do at least, I would imagine, more damage than he wanted to do or that he had done, if not win. Because now TTF actually, he's in a pretty good position, I think.
A very good position.
Yeah.
Income is just going to start skyrocketing, especially if he starts chrono boosting off of both of these Nexuses. A little high on the chrono boost, but it shouldn't be a huge problem. He's in such a good position compared to this late hatchery here from Hendralisk.
Yeah, indeed. Incomes look to be about the same at that point, which is strange. But I mean, Hendralisk did get some probe kills there, for sure.
Important to note also that the mineral income was very similar, but
Yeah.
In terms of gas, Protoss is just pulling ahead by leagues and bounds. He's throwing down the Twilight Council there.
And I don't think the Zerg needs a tremendous amount of gas at this point, but we don't know what his tech path is going to be quite yet. Since he's just establishing his second base, it's going to be a little late to see what he's getting into here. Doing a drone transfer there, mass drone transfer, and he has a pack of Lings sitting outside the front of the base. They're not going to be able to do any damage, but they can pretend to hold TTF in his base until he gets a bigger force to push that away.
Now, of course, if TTF or if Hendralisk had Art Vision, I wouldn't be completely against a big Baneling bust here. He doesn't have a whole lot defending it. I mean, before this gateway was thrown down, a couple Banelings will drop that pylon, will drop that cannon, then he can just stream in with enough Lings. But that is a pretty risky commitment, and given the fact that his earlier push didn't work out exactly as he wanted, I think Hendralisk is just trying to play this one a little safer.
I agree, but also, I mean, the other thing is he knows that he's behind at this point. He must know he's behind at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
So it wouldn't be a bad option, but like you said, it's incredibly risky to do it, even especially since the first one was not so successful.
Throwing down the Roach Warren, just about to complete here by Hendralisk, as well as an Evo Chamber.
Yeah, Evo Chamber, and he's taken another secret base up at the top. That is probably not going to be scouted for some time.
No, absolutely not. And especially on Antigua Shipyard, you've got that circuitous way of getting up there with this double ramp. It just seems like unless Protoss gets air, which he's not doing right now, that's going to go undetected for probably a good bit of time.
And he could always, I don't believe he researched hallucination, but he could always throw a hallucinated Phoenix around on the good scouting strategy. Yeah, it's not researched at this point.
Ling's just poking up again, seeing what he's got to deal with, checking for that third, though. If it had gotten past that pack of Lings, I'm sure he'd be just as surprised as us.
Let's see. I mean, we'll see how long this secret third base lasts for Hendralisk. In the last game, actually until the end of it was never found. So, and it's a good strategy sometimes if the opponent is not going to scout it. You can get away with a lot of free income.
But what might tip off TTF is he's scouting for this third right here, and if he doesn't see it, by this point in the game, he might be expecting that Hendralisk has to be somewhere else, if not here.
Yeah, secret base, sure. Yeah, because that third in any normal situation would be up at this point.
Oh,
should
absolutely.
be.
Just throwing down a couple extra gates here. I believe he's at 5 gateways. He's going for the robotics bay also, so some Colossus play coming up soon.
No Colossus last game, but this seems like a better transition. There was no room for Colossus last game with his strategy, so we'll see what he's going to go for his final composition. And Hendralisk throws down the Spire,
which gets hopefully spotted by TTF. I believe he saw that. Yes, he did. He saw that little blip. So
yeah, he did see the Spire. Okay. Mutalisk is going to be very difficult to deal with as Protoss. There are a number. Now, last game they were taking out handily. I think there was a little bit of control issue with the Phoenix there. He kind of ran his pack of Mutas into a pack of Phoenix, which generally will favor the Phoenix if the numbers are even, because the Phoenix gets the bonus damage to light, which the Mutalisks are. So we'll see how he can use them at this point. I mean, obviously, he would have a good counter to the Colossus at this point. Not even a counter; it wipes out the Colossus. But
especially If he gets a critical number of Colossi, also just getting a couple Corruptors, even 3 or 4, throwing down Corruption just makes all the difference in the world for taking out those huge units.
Certainly, certainly.
Good little bit of a deny there. That patrolling Ling.
That Ling he's got some very good cardio. He is not running out of energy there.
He's got to keep those wings in shape.
Yeah, indeed. So, Hendralisk still has not taken that third, but his secret third, if you will, is up and running now, getting some gas going.
I believe it's still undetected. Yep.
Phoenix again. Okay, Phoenix again for TTF. Interesting. Phoenix Colossus. Now the Phoenix could help keep the Colossus alive just a little bit longer, because he knows that there's going to be air counters out there. So if he gets a few Phoenix, he can absorb some of the damage from the air and keep the Colossus alive a little bit longer, hopefully wiping out the whole ground army with those beautiful long death rays that they have.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at a lot of Mutalisks coming out. Looks like Hendralisk was banking a lot of gas, and he's just kind of bottlenecked by mineral right now.
Yeah, yeah.
He's dumping all of that into Mutalisks and +1 air.
I think, okay, so he's an additional, he had 8 Mutalisks on the way. Obviously not enough quite yet, but if he gets that critical mass, like we talked about, that could be very hard to deal with.
He's got 5 up and 7 more on the way, so looking at about 13. That's actually 12, but I'm very out of my math game right now.
Well, we don't need math. We don't need math. The game has numbers for us. We can look at the number readouts. No detection, so we can't kill that pesky observer. Super invisible observing unit. He's seeing everything. Okay, so more Meta's left back at the base. Let's see what he does with this pack. I imagine he's going to go in for some light harass, but I think he might be disappointed. He's going to be meted by Blink Stalkers and there's the Blink, and we have Phoenix as well. So
ooh, yikes.
That's always discouraging to see.
2 Mutas down, 3,
and these Mutas,
4.
oh, poor guys.
Yikes, they're just going to melt.
Yeah. Not what you want. That's a heavy gas investment that yielded literally no results at all. So, oh my gosh.
Just going to worry, and he tried to run away until he realized there was only about 6 there.
Yep.
Just gonna...
So that's the problem. If you get caught by a pack of Phoenix, you can't really outrun them. So you might as well try to do some damage, and you're not going to really get any damage done. So that's.
I believe he only killed 1 Phoenix there with that pack. Meanwhile, he's just looking like a big Roachling army, which, given this comp of those Colossi, Roaches are actually a little better against Colossi than you'd think if they're on creep, because they're so fast, especially if you get the speed upgrade. But with everything else tanking it, I think they're just going to eventually be whittled down very quickly.
Yeah, and the problem is you actually have to get to them as well, which normally you'll have a wall of stalkers and zealots and some force fields as well. So if you control it well, you can keep them relatively safe, unless the Zerg has a really wonderful flank. And we have some Hydras in there, which those Colossus are going to love, I'm sure. Just eat apart those Hydras so quickly. And the supply right now is favoring Protoss, which is never good for the Zerg.
No, absolutely not.
Never good for the Zerg.
In both workers and army count also, looks like Protoss actually has 4 workers, 5 now, over Zerg, which, I mean, given this third, he's been getting a little extra money, but a lot of bad trades going on with these fights, so I'd still say Protoss has a pretty commanding advantage right now.
And I think it comes down to, again, the initial attack that set Hendralisk so far behind. I don't think he did enough damage with that to really sustain. So now this is kind of indicative, I think, of the early game decisions. And this army looks pretty unstoppable right now, given Hendralisk's composition. 19 Hydralisks is, they do an incredible amount of DPS, but I really think the Colossus will clean it up so quickly.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Pretty even engaged. We're trying to kind of shuttle up towards these Colossi. He hasn't lost any of them yet.
No, he has not. Roaches are doing some good damage. There we go. This is,
There's the GG.
That's all. So we're going to jump into game 3 here in a minute here.